You know all about the magic of 3-yard quilts.
Well, today we're going to show you the magic of 3-yard quilts and Christmas. Hi, it's Fran Morgan.
And Donna Robertson with Fabric Café.
Today we have something really special. We've remade all the quilts from the book Magic of 3-Yard Quilts in Christmas fabric.
They all turned out so beautiful. Let's show you the first one. Now this quilt is called Allure. And I think the great allure of this one is not only does it look wonderful, but it's super easy to make. With the little juxtaposition of changing the sizes of the blocks, it just gets a lot of movement in this particular quilt. And I love it in this fabric. Let us show you how awesome it is up close. Now I love this fabric. It looks so cozy.
I agree. Very homey and warm and natural.
Well, you know, for a while there we had the lodge look in decor, and you know, the lodge look was okay, but I like this because it's got a little more interest than the lodge look did. And this was, I had to touch it the first time I saw this fabric because it seemed like it had texture, but it's truly quilting cotton, and I love it. And then what more can I say? It has chickadees on it.
Yes, it's so cute, these little birds.
And I love all of the little pine cones and all. So this is the focus fabric, and it has the little chickadees. It's got a little bit of red berries on there. Oh, it's just such a warm and cozy kind of a feel to this fabric. Now that's going to be the #1 fabric. It will go every place that you see on the quilt where the chickadees are. And then the #2 fabric is the one that I thought it looked like it had texture to it, and I had to reach over and feel of it the first time I saw it. But it's actually just a quilting cotton, and it's the perfect background. It gives it that warm and cozy kind of a feeling.
It really does keep it warm. It's got a lot of contrast, but it's kind of that beigey gray that's the same color that's in the birds here, and it really keeps it a really organic feeling quilt.
I love the way our eyes actually can pick up the texture of this fabric, and it gives it more depth to the quilt. That is so cool. So every place that you see this color on the quilt is our #2 fabric, which actually creates the background so that you can see the design of the quilt. And then we have this beautiful red. That is such a yummy red.
Is.
I like that a lot. And it has the little leaves on it and then more little berries. And that's going to be the center of this block as well as the frame of this. And remember I was talking about the way that it changes? That gives you that movement as you're looking at the quilt from going from a small square to a bigger square.
Yeah, because your eye goes, wait a minute.
Right.
Oh, look at that.
And you can see how gorgeous that looks up against each other. Now, the cool thing about this, we have the kits, but we also have this fabric by the yard. So if you want to do some extra things, like maybe a couple of pillows or a bigger border or something like that, you can buy all of this fabric by the yard.
Perfect.
And the kit information on this one is the Christmas Chickadee. It is the Allure pattern from the book Magic of 3-Yard Quilts.
Now this is our fun Dazzle pattern. There's a lot of reasons why I love this pattern. First, it is a 1-block quilt. So this is the block right here, and then we just alternate it with a different colorway. Each block has a 1 half-square triangle, which is so simple to do, and it's just 1 per block. You put them together and it creates this really cool, fun, playful pinwheel in the centers of these like blocks here that when you put them together it looks like a bigger block, but it's really not. It's really fun. And this is absolutely a gorgeous blue and white fabric with just a little touch of metallic. Let's check that out closer.
Well, I have to tell you, the first time you showed me this quilt, when you finished it and you said it was a 1 block, I was like, no way.
So let's get our little handy dandy cropping tool out, which we love. And I'm gonna first show you the block. I'm gonna line it up on the edges of the block and you can see, ta-da, and it's kind of surprising, I think.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
Because that's just, you would never really see that whole big section whenever you put it together when you look at 1 block.
That's so true, that's so true. So this is so simple to put together. So we're gonna start with a half-square triangle, and that is right here. Then we're going to sew a strip to the top and trim it even with the sides so that we create this little section. Then we sew another strip to that, which is right here, and then we trim that. And then we do it again. And sew this on and trim it. And then we do it again. So this makes it really, really, really fast. And you're kind of making this block over and over and over again to make the whole quilt. The only difference is the alternate block is made with the colors placed in different positions.
And the cool thing about a one block quilt is that you can really get in the zone and make those blocks over and over. And it's you know, your brain just works well whenever you do that repeat thing.
Yep, I agree. I know that it really helps me and it really speeds the process up because I'm doing it over and over. So we have a half square triangle and then bordered with 2 colors of fabric. Now let's talk about this fabric because this fabric is perfect for this pattern. It's a smaller scale print, which I think is perfect for the Dazzle pattern, and it has a lot of metallic on it, which is one of my loves at Christmas. I like that little bit of shine, that the light catches it, and it really gives it a neat kind of reflective quality.
Kind of brings the quilt alive.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's like adds another dimension. So for our focus fabric, we have this gorgeous kind of a scroll pattern that has the navy and the gold on kind of a light blue gray background. And as you can see, it is used in each of the blocks in 2 different positions, as well as some of our half square triangles. And then our number 2 fabric is just a little speckle on a cream. And that speckle is gold, which is great.
Very nice.
Picks up the gold here, and you can see that it's in all of our half square triangles, as well as the border of one of our blocks, and a little out here as well. So, so, so gorgeous. I like that it has that continuity of the gold.
Yes.
It really does help connect it together. Then for our number 3, we have a beautiful vine that also has the gold in the vines, some holly leaves, and as you can see, it's in our half square triangles here, on our block here, and a little on the border and binding. And just, it comes together so beautifully.
And I think it's really cool because when you finish those blocks that you've made over and over again and put them together, it's like magic to see that big block and how it comes out of those 4.
Yes, I love it. I love how we can just turn them and make something amazing. All right, now this is gorgeous fabric, but this pattern is so versatile and looks good in so many things. I'm going to step aside so that you can see the quilt hanging behind me. This is also the Dazzle pattern, and it is made in a little different fabrics, but you can see it looks equally as gorgeous. So this is a really fun one that can be really a highlight for any holiday.
I love the way you can just color with a different color fabric.
Yes,
it makes it so
I love
beautiful.
it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get you the kit information on this. It is called Elegant Frost. It is the Dazzle pattern from the book Magic of 3-Yard Quilts.
Now this pattern is Delight, and it is a really fun pattern to make. It goes together very quickly, and the number 1 and the number 3 position can be directional fabric if you'd like. And it's sort of a double focus fabric, so you can really do some showy fabrics. I also like this fabric because it does put that little touch of Christmas greenery and the red that you can put out on your sofa. And if you're kind of like me, you might not get around to putting it up quite as fast because it is a Christmas quilt, but it looks great all year long. Now, I love this fabric. It has that vintage look.
It kind of does. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of going back. Is it vintage or is it Scandinavian?
It might be a little both.
Maybe it's vintage Scandinavian.
It does, yeah.
Very neat.
It does have that little touch of the Scandinavian to it too, though. I like that. And this particular fabric it's just such a soothing kind of a fabric. I like it a lot. And this is the number 1 fabric. It's going to go in the number 1 spot. And we do have that little formula that we use when it comes to magic. We want to use that formula where you just pick a focus, a light and a dark, and then your quilt comes out beautifully because we show you exactly where to put it. No guessing games there. So this goes in the number 1 spot. And then, as we always say, whatever is left over, you compare those 2, come up with the light for your number 2, and the darkest one is your number 3, and it will fall perfectly every time. So the number 2 color is going to go here. It's your backdrop, so it really causes the design to come forward. And then the number 3 fabric is going to get that little cohesive thing going on here. Usually it's in the border, and it also adds the opposite kind of texture for that number 3 spot. So this is awesome. And you know how I said it would be a really soothing kind of a quilt to make this? Did you know that in every one of our patterns in our books, we show you how to enlarge the quilt? So if you want to make a larger size, you would buy 2 kits for a twin and 4 kits for a king queen. And I think this would be absolutely perfect for a soothing bed quilt.
Oh, I agree. This is really, really pretty. And you know, it's those beautiful Christmas colors and a really kind of heritage feel or that vintage feel like we've talked about. And it could be out all the time, I think.
Oh, I think so too, absolutely. And this kit information is the flower press, the delight pattern from the magic of 3-yard quilts.
Now this gorgeous quilt is called Enchanting, and this is a fun pattern to do. And it's really cool because we have a nice big block right here for some gorgeous focus fabric. And it can take a directional fabric, which is great. Then it is bordered with 2 other fabrics here. In this case, we have a red and a white. We've got a little corner here to give it some extra interest. It's going to go together so quick and so fun. Can't wait to share the fabric with you. Oh, Mom, I love this quilt.
I do too.
I love the fabrics in this quilt. It's so bold and so striking and just so
contrasting.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I like it too.
So this is our Enchanting pattern. And for our focus fabric on this one, we have used this really pretty black and white snowflake. It has this kind of filigree design and the snowflakes are tucked in here. I think it's just the perfect focus fabric for this.
It really becomes very elegant with that pattern.
Kind of a modern elegance. I just really, really like it. Now for our number 2, and you know sometimes we say this, when you have a focus fabric that's really bold and striking and you want to really draw attention to it, you keep your number 2 and 3 a little bit simpler so your eye is always going to that focus fabric. And in this case we've done that. We have kind of a tone-on-tone white print that has like some circles in here, and it's very subtle. That is all of our white here. And I think it gives just a little interest without being overpowering because it is very subtle. And then this gorgeous, beautiful kind of a wine burgundy red. It's kind of a brick red, I guess, but it's very, very pretty.
Yeah, it is very pretty.
And it has some highs and lows, some lights and darks in it, so it gives you a little bit of texture. And I think that little pop of red is what just makes it go pow or wow.
And you know, I really like the way you put the half square triangle on this corner, and then it creates these little squares whenever you put the blocks together. I just thought that was so clever.
It's just a little peekaboo of this wonderful fabric, and it all comes together just beautifully. I love this.
Yeah, I really like this one too.
This color combination is fantastic. And let me mention something too. We do have backings available, so whenever you go on our website, fabriccafe.com, and click on the kit, when you open up that kit, you will see that we have suggested a backing fabric. And here's the beautiful red that we've put on the back of this, which matches perfectly with our kit, because we're going to very specifically match those so they all look beautiful.
And it really does accentuate the quilting whenever you use a dark fabric with a lighter color on it.
You know, I'm just going to open this up a little bit. Our long arm quilter actually did snowflakes on this, and just kind of this little meandering pattern that makes it look like the snowflakes are in the breeze.
Yes, absolutely.
It's very pretty, and these backings are perfectly matched, and I think really show off the quilting. It is so, so, so pretty. All right, so let's get you the kit information on this one because it is quite gorgeous. It is called Snowflake Swirls, and it is the Enchanting pattern from the magic of 3-yard quilts.
You know, the young and the young at heart are really fascinated with the pieces and parts of Christmas. And this quilt is called Fascination. And it has a lot of movement to it because we've used 2 different blocks here, as well as the width of the fabric. So the row quilts go together very, very quickly. And one of the things I did whenever I designed this pattern is I put the lighter color in the middle of the star, the number 2 fabric, because I feel like stars are the bright and they're shining out of the darkness. So I did that as a little reverse from what you traditionally see with a star. Now this fabric has some great stories to tell, so let's put it on the table and talk about the fabric. When my kids were little, at Christmas, I would always make a cranberry hot tea. And it was sort of like a mulled flavoring because it had cloves and it had orange juice in it and cinnamon, and they loved it. It was the highlight of Christmas.
And we still love it. And, and this is exactly what this fabric made me think of, is cranberry tea at Christmas.
Yeah, and it's the perfect drink for everyone. So the kids could enjoy it, and I know for years, even after everybody grew up and went their separate ways, whenever we would get together for Christmas, I would always get a phone call. Are you going to make cranberry tea or shall I bring it? So it was truly a mainstay. Okay, enough of that story. It has a lot of nostalgia to me.
This is exactly what this looks like.
And it's so cute. And now this is the width of the fabric. So you'll cut a strip, the width of the fabric, to make this row quilt. And it can accommodate a one or directional fabric, but we're using a tossed fabric here. And so that is super simple to put together. And then we have 2 blocks that are also really simple. Now I'm going to show you real quickly. This one is just that super simple way of cutting a unit that becomes part of the block. We strip piece long pieces, and then we cut it into a unit, and then we put strips on the side, and you've got your block finished. But let me show you how easy it is to make this star as well. So you're going to start off with a square right here, and then you're going to make half square triangles. And you know the trick of making half square triangles is every time you make one, you're actually making 2. So down here, we are going to put 2 half square triangles together and make this.
Points.
And then we're going to do the same thing up here. And then we repeat on the side. We're going to make this strip, which would have a square, like so, with the same little half square triangles here, and then another square up here. So you make those strips, and then you put them on the side of this centerpiece. Super simple, fast, easy peasy.
So fun.
Yeah, it really is. Now, let's look at the rest of the fabric, because we have a number 2 here, and this one is one of those occasions that you might want to use something a little more interesting, like we say, an interesting number 2.
Nice.
It's kind of the center look here, so it kind of could be a little more of a focus looking.
I like that, and I think that the greenery on the star is kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that too. And then that makes your number 3 become your background. So it's doing the job of the darkness behind the light, so that it causes the design to come forward.
Very cool.
It's kind of a different little twist on what we normally do.
And this red is cool too because it's a tone on tone, so there's a little bit of a print on it, and that print is snowflakes, which is very fun.
I really like that too. So this particular kit is called Cup of Cheer. It's the Fascination pattern from the magic of 3-yard quilts.
Now this is Topiary, and it's become one of my favorite patterns here at Fabric Cafe for a couple of reasons. First, we have a very simple block here. It's just a square that is bordered on 2 sides. We have made this in 2 colorways and just put them in a column here in a big vertical row. Then we have sashed it with one of the other colors. Now what this does is this makes this quilt a no seam matching quilt. So it's going to go together really fast, great for beginners, great for experienced quilters that need something really fast. Now this one is made with a gorgeous Christmas ombre fabric. Let's get it on the table and check that out. Okay, let me show you this block because it is so easy. So we're going to start with this block here. I'm going to show you the whole block first so that you can kind of see it here. It is so simple. It is a square with a border and a border on 2 sides there. So the first thing we're going to do is cut our square, which is this. So simple. Then we're going to sew a strip to one side and trim it even. And then we're gonna sew a strip on the second side here. That's the entire block.
It's amazingly easy.
It's amazingly easy. Now, the second alternate block is made exactly the same way. It is just with our other color. So all we're doing is making these blocks over and over again that are going to go together just so fast. And then we simply rotate them and put them in a column and sew them vertically together instead of in rows like horizontally like we normally think.
So it's cool the way you made that block. So that means that you could use directional fabric.
You absolutely could, which is
Cool.
even better. Just another selling point. Okay. Now, what's really cool is then we've put our columns together with a sashing strip, which means there's no seams matching from this column to this column, which is great. I love that.
I do too.
And it's going to go together so fast. Okay. Let's talk about this fabric because this fabric is gorgeous. For our number one fabric, we have this beautiful green, and it has silver snowflakes on it. They're metallic silver with a little dark little snowflake of green in there as well. This fabric is an ombre fabric, which means it gets a little darker on each selvage and gets a little lighter in the middle. It also means, in this particular case, that the printing of the snowflakes, like there's more snowflakes near the selvage and they get a little lighter in the middle, which gives us so much depth and dimension to our fabric. And you can see when you're looking at this, like you see how it gets a little darker and then it gets a lighter. That's just how the fabric is made, and it gives us so much dimension.
And it gives it so much variety in here as well because it looks like you've used multiple fabrics that are shaded, so it's
I think
great.
it's cool. So like this one is light and this one is dark. It's so cool.
And this one's in the middle.
So our green snowflake ombre here is going to be our number one fabric in the number one position. It's every other block as well as a little on our border and our sashing. Then our number two, we've kept very simple so that that green and that blue really pop off. It's just a nice warm white, and that's what we've used to border our blocks and create this really cool pattern. And then our number three is a beautiful blue. This also is an ombre, just like our focus fabric. Hey, it's like a double focus.
Oh, that's true.
Oh my goodness, it's a double focus as well. But it's also darker at the selvages with bigger, more snowflakes, and it gets less in the center. So, and you can tell how it kind of gradates here with the darker and the light. It's just so cool.
It is so fun.
It is really fun. So this is a really, really neat one. And I like the combination of the blue and the green together for Christmas.
Absolutely.
I think it's really neat. All right, let me get you the kit information. This is called Ombre Flurries. It is our topiary pattern from the book Magic of 3-Yard Quilts.
Now this is going to be a refashioned flying geese. This particular quilt is called Flights of Fancy, but by using the colorway of the green and the cream, it kind of makes these look a little bit like a Christmas tree. And you can use directional fabric in this block because I've designed it so that directional fabric or tossed fabric will work in it. Let's talk about this in more detail. Now, Flights of Fancy is such a fun quilt. I love the movement in it. I like the two super simple blocks that you'll make for these. Each block has a center section with strips on the side, so center section and strip.
Oh, very cool.
It's pretty simple and easy to do. And the number one fabric is here in the center. It can be a directional fabric or a tossed fabric. And I love this fabric. It just looks like, you know what it makes me think of is the old-fashioned Christmas cards.
Oh,
it has that
like
kind
the
of
Victorian Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
I like that a lot.
Those
so
roses are gorgeous.
They are gorgeous. But it just looks like the printing they used to do on those Victorian Christmas cards. So that's the number one fabric. It's going to be the center of attention here in this block. And then the number two is this great textural background color. And the texture is there to help your eye kind of rest for a minute so you can see the rest of the design, but it also has a little bit of depth to it.
It does.
Yeah.
I like that the little speckles on it. Some are big, some are little, some are light, some are dark. So it really does give it some interest without being overpowering.
And it also carries on with that little bit of a Victorian kind of feeling like it's an old-fashioned
Like
something.
parchment or maybe, yeah.
And as I said before when I was up showing the quilt, this green is the perfect thing to use for your flying geese, and it makes it look more like a little tree. So I like that. And then we put those little borders on the side of that one too.
It's so cute. This is really, it does have that kind of old-fashioned feel. I really, really like this fabric and this pattern. And I love the way when you get contrast like this, I mean, you have a lot of interest going on, but all of these colors contrast so well, so you can really pick up all of these beautiful pieced elements that we've done here.
Yes.
And that just really highlights it, I think.
I think it does too. It just coordinates perfectly with that. This must be kind of a Victorian green of some sort.
It must be. It's a perfect match for the focus fabric.
It is. Now this particular kit is called Christmas Pines. It's the Flights of Fancy pattern from the Magic of 3-Yard Quilts.
Now, if you don't know this about me, I love bold colors and a lot of contrast in my quilts. And here is our Splendor quilt made with some really contrasting colors. And it's a really fun one. We have a half rectangle here, and we've just put them in a row and sashed them with a really contrasting fabric. And I think this really helps highlight like you're looking through a window or something. And you know what? This is super quick because when you add a sashing like this in a pattern, you don't have to match seams on these 2 rows, which is great. I love that. So let's get it on the table and talk more about this great pattern. All right, I think this is so fun.
This is a fun quilt.
I love this. It's so fun. So I like how we've had such variation of all of our styles in our quilts in this show. And this one is really kind of playful. And it's got all these Christmas trees. And it's like we're looking out a window and, oh, there's all the Christmas trees.
And do you know one of the things that I like about this quilt that makes it playful is this zigzag that's created by your number 2 fabric in the background.
Oh,
I love that.
cool. Yeah, that is very fun. All right, this fabric, so cool. Nice navy blue background. All these different trees, and they're striped, and they're stick trees, and there's plaid trees, and there's all the different kinds of trees. I think it's just
They're all
so
very
darling.
interesting.
They are all very interesting, and it makes the perfect focus fabric for our Splendor pattern here in all of our half rectangles. It's very cool. Then for our background, which as you mentioned earlier, that gives it the contrast, the place to rest, our background, which creates that cool zigzag that you were talking about. It's a nice white with a little red dot. It almost kind of acts like it would be snow, but they're not snowflakes. But it kind of looks like it blends so well, keeps that playfulness. And then our number 3, beautiful red, a little bit of texture. That gives us our pop with all of our sashing. And it just gives it that wow factor, I think.
This quilt definitely has the wow factor.
Yeah, I love the red and white together, so it is so much fun. The kit information on this one is Tree Fun. That's the name of the kit, and it's our Splendor pattern from the Magic of 3-Yard Quilts. We have had so many beautiful quilts shown to you today. I would love to find out what your favorite one is.
You know, we've had so many people that have commented about how they enjoy the redos, and there's some interest kind of popping up that some people would like to see the 1-block 3-yard quilts redone in Christmas fabric. What do you think about that? Let us know in the comments.
Now, if you would like to see more quilts like these in different fabrics, be sure to watch the video that pops up.
It's Donna Robertson.
And Fran Morgan with Fabric Cafe.
Happy quilting.